Getting started, since there are a few of us, I'm kind of curious what attracted you to this breakout. What are you hoping to get out of it? Anyone? What are you interested in? Why video for sales?
Well, I think video can be highly effective. It's just getting it in the right hands.
Okay.
Getting it out there. It's like bait, I think. So hopefully you can help get it into.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Anything else?
You have good demo technology.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Demo. Okay. Okay. Cool.
I'm seeing how video could actually help drive that consensus.
Okay. Cool. So, does anybody know the history of our company? We started out as Demo Chimp. We rebranded to Consensus. So, about 2.5 years ago, we started. About 3 years ago, my co-founder and I were working at separate companies. We didn't even know each other yet. And we were both thinking about this concept of using interactive video to automate some aspects of a sale, trying to figure out how technology could do that. So as we looked at sales reps, we realized that there's a portion of what they do that's very repetitive, and a portion of what they do that needs to be highly personalized and in context. And so we started to build technology to use interactive video to automate the repetitive aspects of it. And as we started to do that, what we thought we were doing was solving or automating product demos. What we realized, to our great delight, was that there's a massive problem that has bubbled up over the last 5 years, and that as a sales industry, we haven't done a good job of acknowledging. So I'm going to spit my gum out. Sorry. And then we'll get started. So, the video for sales revolution. So, I could spend this time talking about, giving you all of the amazing research around video and its effectiveness in sales and marketing and demand gen. Things like a 2-minute video conveys as much as a 5-page document. Excuse me. 76% of executives watch business videos at least once a week. 40% watch daily. There are literally 100 stats like this that talk about how video is very, very effective in communicating your value to your prospects. So the interesting thing here, though, I think, is that it's much larger than that. If you can trust me, if you aren't already comfortable with that fact, we can talk about it afterwards. But if we accept that video is a very effective way to communicate, then I think the meat that we can get into here will be a lot more interesting. So inside sales, about the time we were starting this company 3 years ago, inside sales was incredibly hot. They were on a tear, just establishing the sales acceleration market, doing amazing things with their technology, raising incredible amounts of money, and they've done amazing things with that. I don't know if how many of you were in the keynote, but the new playbook technology looks incredible. I'm really excited about that. But as we got into this, we realized that inside sales was doing an amazing job enabling sales reps, but nobody was enabling buying groups, the other half of the equation. So there's sales acceleration, and now enter Consensus, buying acceleration. It's a perfect fit. This is one of the key reasons why we are integrating and partnering with inside sales, because together we're two parts of the equation. One's enabling the rep to do their job more efficiently, more powerfully, and we're on the other side helping the buying group to become educated and to make decisions more quickly. So why is buying acceleration an important category, right? Sales acceleration, there's no question, but why does buying acceleration matter? Well, there's been a huge shift in behaviors that I'll get into. There's a thinking in our industry where around close rates, where I believe we've become kind of complacent because we benchmark against each other, right? Oh, what's the average close rate across the B2B sales industry? We'll say 25%. They showed some interesting stats, which made me feel better, actually. Earlier, Ken Krogh shared that it was actually 15% for inside sales teams and 40% for outside sales teams. I was grateful to get that because I've been thinking we're behind in our close rate. But anyway, so the mentality goes like this. Oh, we have a 25% close rate. I need to find a way to incrementally increase this. So we look for opportunities across the board to increase our close rate, right? Production per rep is the gold mine. But I believe that that's flawed. If you think about it's important, but if you look at what's exiting the funnel and why they're exiting it, what we find is a huge shift in buying behavior that we really need to be paying attention to. If we're only focused on improving our close rates incrementally by studying the people that are buying, we're going to miss out on this big change that's happening right in front of our eyes. So when we kind of internally, when we were talking about this and we had built our technology, we were deploying with clients, and we were realizing that the problem we were solving was larger and in a category of its own, this buying acceleration category. And so this analogy surfaced where if you were a farmer, your dream your entire life was to open a grocery store, and you had a real passion for produce, and finally you've raised funding and you got to open your store, and you open your store, and 25% of the people coming into your store are buying something, and 75% are not. Right? So my question is, are you only going to stand at the register and ask people why they're buying? It would drive you insane to wonder, to not know why 75% of the people coming into your store were exiting. And yet somehow, as salespeople, as sales professionals, we don't do that enough, right? We study our ideal customer profile. We look at all the different data that says why a certain customer is buying, and we're ignoring this 75% of people who are exiting. So that's where we found this big shift in buying behavior happening. So in marketing, think about it. Of all the people that are coming to websites, it's become totally acceptable to have less than a 5% conversion rate. So flip that. That's a 95% failure rate. And yet marketing's celebrating, yeah, we got 5% conversion. What behavior is happening? Do you know why people are exiting, right? I mean, we don't, but does marketing know? We're in sales. But it's misunderstood buying behavior. That's the point that I'm making. In sales development, the same thing is happening, right? With your sales development teams. Of all the people that they're reaching out to, 10% roughly will commit to a meeting. 20% roughly will, so this data comes from a data set of 1 million sales development rep dials. So 20% will say, no, we're not interested, please don't contact us. There's another 10% that, I apologize, I forgot what the result is there. But 60%, they don't say no. They see value in what you're doing, but they just won't engage. They just won't set an appointment. So what's happening there? What is the buying behavior that's preventing them from engaging with you, even if they see value? At the bottom of the funnel, the same thing is happening, right? 30 to 40% of sales we're losing to no decision. These are changes in buying behavior. And if we can understand them, then you can find massive opportunities to increase your close rate rather than incremental ones. So I want to shine a light on some of the behaviors that research has discovered over the last few years that I think should help us understand. Some of them are intuitive, and then some of them I think should be eye-opening. So 80%, so the Challenger customer, if you're familiar with the Challenger sale, it's one of the best sales books that's been released in the last 20 years. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. That was written by a research group called CEB, Chief Executive Board. CEB recently published another book called The Challenger Customer, where they studied buying groups and buying behavior. It's a fascinating book, and if anybody wants a copy, just contact me after. I'll give you one. But they found that 80% of buyers want more support from suppliers in communicating the value of the solutions that they championed. Isn't that what salespeople do? How in the world are 80% of buyers feeling like they don't have enough support, enough information to sell internally? They want to, they're trying to, right? Really interesting. There's something going on there that we'll get to. So one of the shifts that's happening is that, so this on the bottom, this continuum would be the customer journey. So the customer, at the start, they're looking at the status quo. Then they move to, yes, we have a vision for a problem that we need to solve and what the solution might be. And in the past, it was, hey, here's a single stakeholder. I'm the VP of sales, so I'm going to make decisions around this. This is what we're going to do. And it's shifted dramatically to organizational consensus. And this is where a lot of the challenges are coming in, and why our close rates as an industry have sort of hit a glass ceiling. So this is more research from CEB. Raise your hand if you've seen this. You've seen this? Cool. So this is research that they did. They studied 3,000 mid-market companies, and what they were looking for is they had a theory that if the buying group size increased, that purchase likelihood would decrease. And so that's what they were looking for, and it's much more dramatic than they anticipated. But if purchase likelihood was 81% with one person, it drops 50 percentage points by the time you get to the industry average buying group size. So your purchase likelihood is taking a nosedive because of how buying behaviors are evolving, and if we're not doing anything about it, right, then your close rate is going to stagnate as well, or you won't be able to get as much production per rep as you could. So, actually, research just came out. They found at the time, let's see, this was in 2013 or 2015. Sorry, that the average buying group size is larger. It's not just the individual stakeholder. There are multiple stakeholders, but what they're finding is that those stakeholders, more so than ever, are relying on power users and other people with operational expertise, end users, to give opinions on whether or not you should buy a product. Right? So imagine you're spending all of your time, let's say, targeting the VP of sales, communicating your value to them. Then they go try to talk to an end user about it. There's a disconnect there, right? The VP of sales cares about one thing, the end user cares about a different thing, and that's what you're relying on to get a deal done. It doesn't work. I'll give you an analogy. So this is just one more step deeper into what they're calling group buying dysfunction, right? A group's inability to make a purchase decision together, and some of the reasons that disrupt their ability to do that. So looking at they created a stakeholder diversity index, and essentially because this goes up, it shows a correlation between how dysfunctional a group is and wait. Oh no, I got the wrong graph on. Okay. Anyway, I apologize. The point is that there are a number of reasons why groups struggle to make decisions, and they created an index around that and found a correlation between that index and how and the markers of a dysfunctional group. So, half of the people who would buy a product or service are not willing to advocate publicly for it. Right. So now we know that there's been a shift in buying group behaviors. Now we're shifting to the why. Why are things changing, and why are they struggling to make decisions? So not willing to advocate publicly for it. They fear losing respect, being ignored, or backing a failed product. So 50%, right, struggle with this fear. 80% feel like they need more support in the way that they're selling internally. This is a huge, huge opportunity for us as an industry. What if we understand that this is happening? So the typical story is this, right? You're spending months to educate your reps, to ramp your sales reps, whether in sales development or account executives. And they spend an hour, maybe up to three, right, meeting with a mobilizer, sort of building the business case, even an enterprise, right, building the business case, helping that person put a presentation together. If your deal size is lower, even that's not happening, and so the internal communication, it's reduced to the telephone game. And then that mobilizer is charged with selling to the rest of the stakeholders, and there's that terrible moment in the sale when as a sales rep you realize that you've lost your ability to influence because they're just saying, thanks for all the information, I'm going to go back and talk to my colleagues. And that's where it falls apart, right? All of this, everything that we're talking about, that's where it falls apart. We can't rely on champions to do the selling for us. So today's sales professional is looking at, hey, I'm fully ramped, I'm prepared for these one-to-one meetings, and that's where I'm going to hit my quota. But top reps now, the evolution of the sales rep is going to they're paying attention to the full buying cycle, not just the educate one champion and then wait till they ask me for support in their internal selling efforts, right? So becoming buying coaches is a very, very critical concept that we as sales leaders and sales professionals need to figure out what that means to you and your organization. So CEB as they were getting into this research and they found these changes in buying behavior and these, what they found was that they started studying sales reps and said, okay, well, who actually knows how to do this? Who's actually a buying coach as opposed to a sales rep, right? That's only focusing on one-to-one interactions rather than selling to an entire buying group. And they found that 28% know how to do it. They've been trained to do that. And 72%, oh, there we go. It's not even in their training. So I'm curious, does anybody have in their sales training onboarding process training around selling to buying groups? So that worked perfectly. It's a real problem. Buying behavior absolutely is changing. So thankfully, technology is changing with it, and this is why inside sales recognized what we were doing and said, hey, our customers need you, come along, right? And literally it was Dave Elkington approached me at a trade show, and we were talking about what he was doing. He's been, we've been close for a couple of years, and he just said, my customers need this. And it was, and then it just went. So, okay, a couple of quick tips. Selling to groups. So each stakeholder needs a buyer's journey. Okay, so if you have your individual selling, right, the buying behaviors for the individual, well, you need to understand what the different roles are in the buying group and what that journey should be. So you can't have, you get all the way down the buyer's journey with the single individual, right? Your typical champion that's going to go sell internally for you. And then they're going and starting at square one with the rest of the stakeholders. And those stakeholders aren't getting the buyer's journey that they really need to feel confident to say yes to a group purchase decision. So personalized basic education. As reps, we have to be living in the context, right? Every meeting that you have with a prospect should be in the context of their systems, their processes, right? It's any type of generic demoing that you're doing is really hurting your ability to sell. So I'll show you more about that. And then enabling internal selling, don't rely on the champion. So I can't stress that point enough. You will, if you can just find ways to solve that as it applies to your business, you'll find immediate improvements in your close rate. We're really excited about the partnership.
Man, I wish we could crush our quota. There has got to be a better way.
Death Star. Okay. So, okay. Great. So this is the joining of sales acceleration and buying acceleration for a more. Oh, sorry. So now I want to show you the integration. I want to show you some of the technology. I'll give you a sampling of the experience that you can give to your clients and how our technology helps you to solve group buying dysfunction as we understand it today. So this is sales. This is inside sales. Their business development team and.
Do you want to make more sales? Of course. Who doesn't? But with
Sorry, let me give the context. So this is the consensus platform. This is the inside sales instance of it. So their business development reps will send this out to prospects to help them get educated, and then ask those prospects to share this with all the other stakeholders before anyone meets with an account executive. Right? That way the right messaging gets to the right people. And the interesting thing is that you'll see here is that it actually personalizes to the individual depending on what their role is in the organization.
without visibility and the right tools, you can't be that you need to sell more.
We built this video
including sales
content for them in 2 weeks.
Email tracking, gamification,
So I don't know
and
if
more.
anybody has any
This is all
experience
built on a
developing
predictive and
video.
prescriptive
Salespeople
self-learning
don't
engine.
often have that.
So you have all the tools you need to
That's
sell
about
more than ever.
6 times
Curious how
faster
inside sales can do
than
this for you?
any other
Personalize
video
this demo
production
by telling
service
us what's
in
most
the
important to you
world
in
that we
3,
know of.
2,
So
1.
it's extremely fast. So we build this video as part of implementation with a partner company. We provide the technology side, and then we have a partner that does the video production that's exclusive to us. So really cool how it all comes together. But that was a quick intro video, right? If I'm an inside sales prospect, that's a quick intro video that says, this is why inside sales matters to you. Now tell us what's most important to you so we can personalize the rest of this. So I get to go through and say, oh, let's see. Yeah, sales productivity is really important to me. Sales efficiency is very important. And
Not
then
having
on the fly,
visibility into your sales
if I had
metrics,
selected
cycles,
very
and
important,
activities
it's actually
means
going
you're selling
to
blindly.
give a more in-depth
Selling blindly is a
presentation
waste
on
of
that
resources
particular
and can cost you
problem or
sales.
feature.
But inside sales
right?
will give you clarity
So
with visibility.
if I selected somewhat
How?
important, it'll just give
With
a quick
several
summary.
powerful
So it's
tools
acting
that
like
give
an
you a
expert
leg up
sales
on
rep,
every other
asking
sales
questions and then changing the content based on
Inside
their
sales offers email
reaction.
tracking, which alerts you when prospects
So,
open emails, if they download attachments,
This is the repetitive
send it
part,
to others,
right?
and more.
This is what inside sales
can
reps are
follow up
having
at
to
the
say
best
over
time.
and over and over because
There
there's
is also a
some basic
gamification
education
feature,
that has
which
to happen
creates
with
friendly
any new
competition
prospect.
and makes selling more
And so
fun.
we automate
allows you
that,
to
right? So we make the reps more efficient, but then most importantly, this is shareable, right, with the other stakeholders. That's the key. That's where we really impact your close rate. Documents down at the bottom in case there's research that supports what's in the videos that they can download and take away. You can customize all the calls to action, etc. So this is that was a quick peek at the experience that you can give to your clients. So now what I'd like to do is walk through the integration, how you would use this inside of an InsideSales.com workflow. So I'm going to do it in 2 parts. The first is for business development reps. Actually, I'm going to ask. So there's a use case with business development reps, and there's a use case with account executives. Who wants to hear business development reps? Okay, great. Who wants to hear account executives? Okay, we'll do both. Okay, thank you. So, use case number 1 for sales development is to convert the resistant and the hesitant. So as I was mentioning before, of all the people that they're reaching out to, 60% are not saying no, but they're not converting. So what we've discovered is that if you can simply say, or if your business development reps can simply say, oh, yeah, sure, I understand now's not a good time. Can I send you a personalized video demo? That way you can check it out on your own time. And that simple use case of allowing people to become educated in a personalized way about your value and your product tends to double the number of appointments that a business development rep can set. It's really powerful because guess what? People don't want to meet with a sales rep yet, right? Because they're not sure of the value yet. So very powerful there. Sales development use case number 2, better click-through rates. So as you're sending emails, being able to put in the subject line, hey, Dave, here's a personalized video demo of inside sales for you. Our clients on average see a 31% click-through rate on that. Really, really powerful, really effective. Quite simply, right, we're addressing this change in buying behavior where people don't necessarily, I neglected this point at the beginning. I forgot, I'm sorry. People that we're selling to, right, everybody's getting, the more that inside sales sells, right, the noisier the market gets. Now they're evolving with that, so it's a good thing. Their new platform is going to be incredible at helping reps to personalize, I think, the interactions that they have with prospects. But as the market gets more noisy, people just don't want to take time. They can't set a meeting, but if you can give them an interactive video demo, they'll watch it and then see the value and then convert. So it's just this, yeah. Okay, so really quickly, so this is a screenshot of an email. So essentially, at the bottom, you just click the little consensus plugin. So you can use this with any email provider, and it works with Vision in a way that I'll show you in a second. So the consensus, so when you click this, the consensus form pops up, and it pulls in the data from your CRM. So it'll fill it out depending on who you're sending it to. And then you can label the button if you want, and then it puts a link right in the email. So it's very easy. It's just a couple of clicks, and you can. And this again is to personalize the experience. That information that you're putting in shows up in the player, right? Their name shows up there, their company name. So you're personalizing the experience for them. So then, when people view a demo, you get a notification as a business development rep that shows up in Vision and also comes to you by email. We want to make sure you don't miss these because, so you can see, so this would actually link to a page that I'll show you in a minute that shows the analytics of how they viewed the demo, who they shared it with, things like that. Those are just the email notifications. So as it exists now, we're going to have a fantastic integration with the next gen of inside sales, I'm certain. But as it exists now, right, this is your inside sales dialer on the side. So when you get a notification, inside sales can actually pop that contact to the top. The same principle applies. If you call within 5 minutes of a demo view, it's not the same as an email open, right? When someone commits 6-7 minutes to view a demo and they absorb that much information, they're actually very receptive to a phone call at that point because they almost always have questions, right? So very, 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 very strong connection rates if you call within 5 minutes of a demo view, and our integration with Inside Sales can make that happen automatically if you want that lead to pop to the top of their call list. So this is just a shot of when somebody does view a demo, you can see, so let's say they viewed the demo and then they shared it with some of their colleagues. Well, this actually discovers who their colleagues are, and then for each of their colleagues, it tells you what they selected as being important to them, and then there's a heat map of how much video they actually watched. And then very soon, we're actually going to have a feature, it's just a month away, I think, where you click on the heat map. So let's say I apologize. The yellow area means they've rewound and watched it again. The darker it gets, the more they watched it, right? So you could click on that dark area and say, what messaging is right there? Why are they watching that over and over? Okay, so sales development, use case number 4. This is they're setting an appointment with a prospect, and they say, great, if you could, I'm going to send you some personalized video. If you can please watch that before our meeting, then we'll be able to get straight into the details, right into context, right? Remember, we should be spending more time in personalized context. So if they do that, they say, please view this before your meeting and share this with the other stakeholders. So this is just a study that we've done across our clients. If it's viewed before the meeting with the AE, they're 33% more likely to become a qualified opportunity, right? Better educated opportunities convert better. If they view and share it, they're 81% more likely to become a qualified opportunity. It's astounding. When you fix group buying dysfunction and you educate each of the stakeholders, deals progress, and they progress quickly and at a higher rate. Okay, so voicemails. It's better for the customer experience, right? So on voicemail number 3 and 4, where they still haven't responded, in your cadence, being able to say, hey, I actually sent a personalized video demo. Just look at that. And then if you like what you see, let me know and we can set something up. That's an experience that the customer really appreciates, as opposed to the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th email saying, I'm not trying to be a bother, but I'm going to email you 5 more times. Okay, and then I think this is the last one for sales development. Re-education, right? So they're spending a lot of time reaching out and initially pitching people, but people don't retain this information very well. So this is a fantastic use case for reviving stalled deals, old deals, lost deals, stale pipeline, being able to re-educate those people in a way that makes them not feel like they have to commit to a sales rep yet. They like to talk to sales reps, but there's that gap of I need to be re-educated before I can feel the urgency again. Okay, so to sum up the sales development use case, the most important thing is that you're sending out these automated demos to all your prospects, right, including that in the subject line. And then when you're setting appointments, you're saying, hey, can you please view this and share it with the other stakeholders before our meeting, right? That accelerates the entire sale and makes your chances of closing it increase dramatically because you're going to educate the entire buying group. And then for those that are resistant and won't set an appointment, right? Remember, that's roughly, look at it in your own pipeline, but roughly 60% of the people exiting aren't saying no, they're just not committing. And you can capture a portion of those through this use case. So, okay. So moving on to account executives. I think we have about 10 minutes left, and then we can get to questions. So account executives. So this is really where we get into the biggest impact on that we can help you with in your close rate. It goes like this. So again, it's that same use case. Sometimes it's happening in business development, right? Not everybody's going to follow this. So your account executives just need to do the same thing. Hey, can you please view this demo and share it with the other stakeholders before our meeting? If you're diligent in that, tends to have the largest impact. Then there's this key phrase that we've found along with our technology as a pair. When you're setting a meeting and you can say, hey, is there anyone else that would feel left out if they missed this meeting? Right? Because you're acknowledging the fact that stakeholders need to be pulled into the buying process as early as possible. The longer you delay that, the less likely your chances are of closing that deal. Right? Because again, you go all the way through the buyer's journey with that, the one-to-one selling, and then all of those stakeholders have to go through a buyer's journey. So it really delays things. So if you can pull the stakeholders in by educating them in a personalized way, then everything accelerates. So one of the things that you want to avoid at all costs in today's landscape is having your individual, the prospect, talking to somebody else on their team before you can. They mess everything up. They don't know how to talk about your value, right? They're poorly educated. They don't personalize the information to that person's individual role, right? If I'm talking to the CFO and I'm a VP of sales, I'm not going to be trained and good at knowing how to talk about this deal to the CFO. But you can build that into an automated demo, right? Okay, so let me show you. Earlier I said, hey, it can personalize to the individual on the fly. So you're just sending out these emails with these buttons in them, and this pops up and says, what role best describes you? So it doesn't matter who in the organization it goes to, it's going to personalize to their information. You can also embed this on websites and do other things marketing related. But if I click VP of Sales, now I'm getting an intro video that's specific to me as a VP of Sales, not a different role. So I'm getting a personalized experience, which does a couple of things. It makes me more likely to continue to learn about it.
DemoChimp instantly creates a unique demo for each prospect.
A little throwback to DemoChimp.
So when you meet, you already have revealing insights.
So it goes to the initial intro video,
3, 2,
and then it does the
1.
personalization. So, I've got, hey, these are our value propositions. This is what we do for you. So how much does this matter to you? And we're aggregating all of this data on the back end, which I'll show you in a second. But Neurolytics is really excited about this data, right? Because this is extremely unique data. It's self-selected survey answers to how your market actually feels about your value propositions. This doesn't exist anywhere. So then again, it builds the demo on the fly and gives them that presentation.
What could you accomplish if you could cut your sales?
So that's the advanced personalization, right? The ability to customize a full unique demo to different roles in the organization. Or if you have multiple products, right? Which of these products is most interesting to you? And then it goes into a demo of that rather than trying to force high level and hope that they get the 5 seconds of value, that they really need to hear. So, okay. Excuse me. So this is the view. So this is your dialer, right, for the account executives. It's incredibly valuable to know who all the stakeholders are and what's important to each of them. And our technology does that by, as the demo is shared around the organization and they make those selections, that data is going into Salesforce or whatever your CRM is, and it's populating in the consensus section saying, here are the different stakeholders. This is the demo they watched, how much they watched, if they shared it, and what they marked as very, somewhat, or not important. So as an account executive, now I know how to personalize value. I know what really matters to this buying group, and I know how they align or misalign. Right? Really key. If some people on the team feel very important or feel like certain value is really important, but some is not important at all, then there could be a mismatch which creates group buying dysfunction, right? Disagreement, misunderstandings. Let's see. So the fourth use case for account executives is that you can actually record things on the fly. So these static demos I'll call them static demos. These personalized interactive demos are pulling from a library of content that we build for you, right, during implementation. But you can build all the video you want and use the technology. So if you have a video team or you just want your sales engineers or sales reps or whomever to use this, we actually built tools into our platform that allow you to record things on the fly. So let's say you, the perfect sale goes like this. Business development rep sets an appointment, says, view the demo and share it with the other stakeholders. That happens. They all watch it, right? Multiple stakeholders show up to the call, and the account executive knows who they are, what's important to them, and can present in context, right? Then, during that demo, the buying group has questions that are demoed live, right? So you do the live demo right after the call, right? Because there are always other people that have to know about this. Even if you get 3 stakeholders, there's still going to be 5 users that they want their opinion on whether or not to buy your product. I'm talking a lot about SaaS, but this really works for any product. Just, replace the words for your industry. So our tool actually allows the account executive to say, I'm going to record quickly the unique messaging that you need for your buying decision. So it could be, hey, here's this very nuanced use case that matters to you. I'm going to record that. I'm going to add it to the demo, and I'm going to send it over to you. Or here's the proposal that we talked about that's kind of nuanced. So I'm going to walk through that live, but record it and send it over to you. Then I know if it's being watched. I know who it's being shared with, et cetera. This is the kind of the wizard for once you've recorded it. It just helps you quickly walk through how to turn that into something that you can send. So for account executives, the simple action of educating all the stakeholders in the buying group early can increase your close rate dramatically and shorten the sales cycle. We're simply addressing the change in buying behavior. So this is Advanced MD. They're a division of ADP. They have about 110 sales reps, and in the first 90 days, they ran a pilot. We have a bunch of stories like this, but this one in particular was interesting. Took 90 days. They sent 300 personalized video demos, 31% view rate. 60% of those that viewed shared it, so a very high share rate. They closed 8% of their leads, not opportunities, 8% of their leads. And their lead to close rate increased 44%. So it's a problem that we need to recognize. Now, I mentioned that we aggregate all of the data, right? All of the self-select data about how people are rating your different value propositions. Well, you can use this in sales, right, to know what messaging is most effective. So, speaking of, so for example, this is a company that they. So these are the different messaging options. And they got it so that roughly, I think it's 86% of people who viewed their demo selected that as being very important to them. And so they narrowed in on that, and they created they realized that was messaging their clients, and they didn't know that before. They just knew that people were buying, but they weren't emphasizing that messaging. So now they fixed that. And achieve some amazing results. So, okay, so we'll have we'll be integrating with playbooks as well. But the last thing I'll leave with you, if you have any questions, or before we get to questions, is just that Dave had you guys in mind and really bullied me to do this. No, just kidding. Anyway, so this is exclusive to inside sales customers, but they get 30% off. So. Oh, and 9 minutes of video production included. So yeah. So that's it. Any questions? Yeah.
So your subscription model, then you pay for the videos kind of on the side.
Yeah. So business development reps and account executives need licenses to manage all of their data and be sending out the personalized links and all of that. They have their own instance. I didn't demo much of it, but yeah, subscription. And then typically we include the initial video production, right, like this. Not that much. Usually it's only 4 minutes, so that's the deal that you got. So did that answer your question? Okay.
I assume it's all customizable as far as which stakeholders you would put in your lists and all
Yeah. Yeah, it's all completely customizable, white labeled for you. Yeah.
So, just to understand, how does Consensus work with DemoChimp and what's it?
Oh, DemoChimp was just our old name. Consensus is our new brand. Yeah. Yeah.
When you show that somebody watched a video over and over, do you have research? Is it because it was cool and funny and important, or was it was confusing?
Yeah, we don't have that, but that would be amazing. I'll dig into that. Yeah. Anything else? Cool, thanks. So as I believe we'll be doing this, but we'll be sending out an email after the show, and I believe all attendees will get it. But you'll actually get a link to a demo, so you can experience it, share it, right? So thanks, everybody, for attending.